still can't believe how happy you make me.
I know exactly what you mean. This is the happiest I've ever been.
The spring afternoon painted Bellhaven High School in shades of amber and honey. Students rushed through hallways, eager to escape into weekend freedom. But Theo Bennett remained behind, sitting alone in the art room where afternoon light filtered. Through tall windows, making dust particles dance like tiny stars. He was 17, with dark curly hair that fell across his forehead and eyes that held emotions too deep for his age. His hands trembled slightly as he held a blue pen over blank paper. For weeks, he had carried these words inside his chest, and today, finally, he would release them. The teacher who changed everything, Miss Rachel Torres, moved through her classroom, collecting paintbrushes and closing paint jars. At 28, she possessed a natural grace that made everyone pause. Her warm brown skin glowed in sunlight, and her gentle voice could calm even the most restless teenagers. She wore simple clothes, always professional, always kind. She had no idea that one student watched her with a heart that beat differently when she entered the room. She didn't know that her encouraging words, her belief in his artistic talent, had planted something precious in Theo's young heart. Words from the heart. Theo began writing. His handwriting flowed across the page like water finding its path. Dear Miss Torres, I know these words might shock you. I know I'm just a student in your fourth period class. But my heart doesn't understand rules about what's appropriate or what makes sense. It only knows what it feels when you encourage my drawings. When you tell me that art can change the world. When you smile and say, my perspective matters. You probably see hundreds of students each year. But you're the first person who made me believe I could become something meaningful. You taught me that beauty exists everywhere if we learn to see it properly, and I see beauty every time you walk into class. I'm not asking for anything. I know this feeling lives only in my world. But one day, when I'm older and stronger and worthy, I hope you'll remember the quiet boy in the third row who never stopped believing you were extraordinary. Forever grateful, Theo. The moment everything shattered, Theo folded the letter carefully into a cream envelope. He never planned to give it to her. This letter existed simply as a release, a way to name the emotion burning inside him, tucked it into his sketchbook and prepared to leave. But fate had cruel plans. The next morning, Theo arrived at school and immediately sensed something wrong. Students whispered in clusters. Eyes followed him down hallways. Laughter erupted behind his back. His best friend Danny grabbed his arm near the lockers. Theo, man, you need to see this. Someone had posted his letter on the school's social media page. Every word he had written privately now displayed publicly for the entire school. The comments section exploded with mockery. Theo's in love with a teacher. Pathetic. He thinks he has a chance? She's way too good for him. This is so creepy. Someone should report this. The confrontation. Theo's face burned with shame. His hand shook as he scrolled through hundreds of comments. Students surrounded him in the hallway, some laughing, others recording videos on their phones. Theo loves the teacher. Theo loves the teacher. Someone started chanting, then the crowd parted. Miss Torres walked toward him, her face pale with concern. She had seen the post. Everyone had seen it. Theo, please come with me, she said quietly, professionally. They walked to an empty classroom. The door closed behind them, muffling the hallway chaos. Did you write this? She asked gently. Her eyes held no judgment, only sadness for what this exposure meant for him. Tears filled his eyes. Shame crashed over him like ocean waves. I never meant for anyone to see it. I wasn't trying to make you uncomfortable. I just needed to write it down, to make it real somehow. Theo, listen to me. She stepped closer, her voice soft. You're not wrong for having feelings. You're 17. Emotions feel enormous at your age, but I'm your teacher. I care about you as a student, as a young artist with incredible potential. That's where this must stay. I know, he whispered, voice breaking. I know it's impossible. I know I'm stupid for even feeling this way. You're not stupid. Her expression softened with genuine care. You're honest and brave. Those are gifts. But right now, we need to handle this situation properly. The price of love. By the end of the day, Theo sat in the principal's office with his parents. His father's disappointment radiated like heat. His mother's eyes were red from crying. "We're transferring him to a different school," his father announced. "This situation has become unmanageable. He needs a fresh start away from this environment." Theo's heart cracked open. "Please, Dad, I'll fix this. I'll apologize to everyone. You've embarrassed yourself, this family, and that poor teacher," his father continued coldly. "We're moving to Riverside. Your uncle has a business there. You'll finish high school across town and learn to behave appropriately." Rachel Torres had tried to intervene, tried to explain that Theo shouldn't be punished so harshly. But parents wanted blood. The school wanted distance. Society wanted consequences. The goodbye that hurt most in his final day, Theo found Miss Torres alone in the art room after school. She was organizing canvases, her movements slow and sad. "I'm leaving tomorrow," he said, from the doorway. She turned, genuine pain crossing her face. "Theo, I'm so sorry this happened. You deserved better than public humiliation." He stepped inside, memorizing everything about this room, about her. "I meant every word I wrote. I know it doesn't change anything, but I needed you to know that." "I believe you," she whispered. "And someday you'll find someone perfect for you, someone your own age who deserves that beautiful heart." He smiled sadly. "Maybe, but she won't be you." Rachel's eyes glistened. "You're going to do amazing things, Theo Bennett. Promise me you won't let this destroy your art. Promise me you'll keep creating beauty in this world." "I promise," he managed. "And Miss Torres? One day when I'm not a kid anymore, when I've become someone you could respect, I'm coming back." She didn't respond. What could she say? Theo walked out of Bellhaven High School for the last time, carrying his sketchbook and a heart too heavy for 17 years. 15 years dissolved like morning mist. Theo Bennett, now 32, stood on Bellhaven's pier watching waves crash against wooden posts. The coastal town looked smaller than his memories suggested, or perhaps he had simply grown larger in ambition and achievement. He had become everything he promised. An internationally recognized architect whose buildings graced magazine covers. His designs merged art with function, beauty with purpose. Every structure he created carried pieces of what Miss Torres taught him that spring semester, about seeing beauty in unexpected places. But success tasted hollow. Money couldn't fill the space where his first love still lived, quiet and patient, waiting. Tonight, Bellhaven was hosting a charity gala to fund a new community arts center. Theo's firm had donated substantially. His assistant had arranged everything, unaware that Theo had ulterior motives for attending. He needed to know if Rachel Torres still taught here, if she still carried that gentle wisdom in her eyes, the woman who survived across town. Rachel Torres stood before her bedroom mirror, adjusting a simple black dress. At 43, life had carved both beauty and exhaustion into her features. Silver threads wove through her dark hair. Fine lines bracketed her eyes, but those eyes still held warmth. Still believed in possibility despite everything that tried to convince her otherwise. She was divorced now. Her marriage to Michael had crumbled 5 years ago under the weight of his infidelity and her exhaustion. She raised their daughter Sophie alone while working as principal of Bellhaven Elementary. Every day stretched too long. Every night ended too tired. "Mommy, you look pretty," Sophie called from the bed. At 9 years old, she had Rachel's gentle spirit and her father's absence. "Thank you, sweetheart. Mrs. Patterson will stay with you tonight while Mommy attends this event." "Is it fancy?" Sophie asked, eyes wide. "Very fancy. Important people donating money for art programs." Rachel didn't mention that attending felt like walking through memories she had carefully buried. Bellhaven remained a small town where gossip lived forever. People still remembered the Theo Bennett incident, still whispered about the teacher who inspired inappropriate feelings. She had done nothing wrong. But shame follows women differently than men. When eyes meet again, gala filled. Bellhaven's historic hotel ballroom with crystalline light and classical music. Rachel entered nervously, clutching her small purse like a shield. She knew few people here, mostly wealthy donors and business owners. Theo spotted her immediately. His breath caught so violently, he nearly dropped his champagne glass. 15 years evaporated. She stood near the entrance, looking uncertain and beautiful and exactly like the woman who had shaped his entire existence. She had aged. He could see it in the tired set of her shoulders, the careful way she moved through the crowd, but she remained utterly, devastatingly her. Their eyes met across the crowded room. Rachel's face transformed through shock, recognition, and something close to fear. She knew that face. Those eyes? But this man standing in an expensive suit with confidence radiating from every gesture couldn't possibly be the 17-year-old boy who had once written her a letter that destroyed both their worlds. Theo. She mouthed silently. He walked toward her, weaving through clusters of guests. Each step felt like traveling through time. "Hello, Miss Torres," he said softly when he reached her. "Or should I call you Principal Torres now?" Theo Bennett. Her voice trembled. "I can't believe. You're here. You're—" She gestured vaguely at his expensive suit, his confident posture. "Alive? Successful? Still thinking about you?" He smiled gently. "All of the above." Conversations at Healthy found a quiet corner near tall windows overlooking the harbor. Music and laughter provided cover for the emotional storm happening between them. "You became an architect," Rachel said, still processing his transformation. "I read about you. Your building in Seattle won awards. You kept track of me?" Hope flickered in his voice. "I Googled you once," she admitted. "After I saw your name in a magazine, I wanted to know if you were okay. If that terrible day hadn't destroyed you—" "It didn't destroy me," Theo said carefully. "It hurt like hell. But it also taught me that some things are worth fighting for, worth waiting for." Rachel's expression shifted. "Theo, please don't what? Don't look at me like that. Like I'm still the person you wrote that letter to. I'm not her anymore. I'm divorced. I'm tired. I have a daughter. I'm 43 years old. I know," he said simply. "I also know you're still the most extraordinary person I've ever met." She shook her head, tears threatening. "You don't know me. You knew a teacher who was kind to you? That's not the same as knowing a real person with real problems." "Then let me know the real person," Theo pressed gently. "I'm not 17 anymore, Rachel. I'm a grown man who understands what he wants, and what I want hasn't changed." The resistance begins. Raquel stepped back as if his words were physically pushing her. "This is insane. You're successful, handsome, and wealthy. You could have anyone. Why would you want a struggling single mother who can barely keep her head above water?" "Because my heart decided 15 years ago," he answered. "And hearts don't follow logic." "Hearts are stupid," she whispered. "Hearts get people hurt." Theo watched her carefully. He saw the fear beneath her words, the exhaustion in her posture. This wasn't rejection. This was self-protection. "What happened to you?" he asked softly. "After I left?" She looked away. "Life happened. I got married because I thought I should. I had a beautiful daughter. Then my husband decided a younger woman made more sense. Now I work 80 hours a week trying to provide for Sophie. While people still whisper about the teacher who made a student fall in love with her, that wasn't your fault. Tell that to Bellhaven," she said bitterly. "This town has a long memory for scandal." Theo felt anger rise in his chest. Not at her, but at the world that punished her for his teenage heart. "Then leave Bellhaven. Come somewhere else. Somewhere no one knows that story. I can't. Sophie's school is here. My job is here. My whole life, small as it is, exists here." "What if you could have a bigger life?" Theo asked. "What if someone wanted to help carry the weight?" Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Why would you do that? Why would you sacrifice yourself for someone like me?" He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, he gently wiped a tear from her cheek with his thumb. "Because love doesn't expire, Rachel. It just waits." Theo didn't push. He understood that Rachel needed proof, not promises. So he began showing up in small, meaningful ways. He donated new art supplies to her school. He funded a scholarship program for students who couldn't afford creative materials. He volunteered to guest lecture about architecture, sitting cross-legged with elementary students who asked if buildings could be shaped like dinosaurs. Rachel watched from her office window as Theo knelt beside Sophie during recess, helping her daughter build a castle from blocks. Something inside her cracked open. He's different, her friend Janet observed. Janet taught third grade and had witnessed the entire Theo Bennett drama 15 years ago. Not like teenage Theo. This man knows exactly what he's doing. That's what scares me, Rachel admitted. He's deliberate, purposeful, like he planned this whole return. Maybe he did, Janet said. Would that be so terrible? A man who never stopped thinking about you? The daughter who saw clearly Sophie came home from school, chattering about the architect who helped build block castles. Mr. Theo says buildings should make people feel safe and happy. Is that true, Mommy? Rachel smiled softly. Yes, sweetheart. Good buildings do that. He asked about you, Sophie added casually, reaching for crackers. Rachel's heart skipped. What did he ask? If you were happy. I said sometimes you cry at night, but pretend you don't. Did I say something wrong? Rachel pulled her daughter close, fighting tears. No, baby. You told the truth. That night, Theo texted her. Sophie says, you cry sometimes. I hate that. Tell me how to help. Rachel stared at her phone for 10 minutes before responding. You can't fix everything, Theo. Let me try, he wrote back. Please. The community that Judge Bellhaven noticed Theo's presence. Gossip spread like wildfire through coffee shops and grocery store aisles. Did you hear Rachel Torres' old student is back? The one who had a crush on her? They're spending time together. My sister saw them at the park. He's rich now. Probably thinks he can buy her. Maybe he's still obsessed. It's creepy if you ask me. Rachel felt the familiar weight of judgment pressing down. One afternoon, leaving the grocery store, she ran into Patricia Henderson, the biggest gossip in Bellhaven. Rachel, dear, Patricia said with false sweetness. I've been seeing you around town with that architect fellow. Is that appropriate? Given your history? Rachel's face burned. Theo is a friend supporting our school's arts program. Of course, dear. Patricia's smile sharpened. I'm sure that's all it is. Though people do talk, especially about women your age spending time with younger men. The breaking pointricle drove home shaking with anger and shame. Sophie chatted happily in the back seat, unaware of her mother's turmoil. Inside their small house, Rachel finally broke down. She called Theo. You need to stop. Stop what? His voice filled with concern. Stop coming around. Stop helping. Stop making people talk. I can't handle this again. I can't be the scandal that everyone whispers about. Silence stretched between them. Then Theo spoke, his voice steady and sure. I'm coming over. No, Theo. Didn't you hear me? I want space. I heard you. I'm still coming. He arrived 20 minutes later, finding Rachel on her porch steps with red eyes and trembling hands. Sophie was inside watching cartoons. Unaware of the storm raging around her mother, Theo sat beside Rachel without asking permission. Tell me everything. As people are talking, she whispered, saying terrible things, saying I'm inappropriate, saying you're obsessed, saying I'm using you for money. I can't do this again. I can't be the teacher who ruins young men. I'm not a young man anymore, Theo said firmly. I'm 32 years old. I'm successful and independent, and I choose to be here. No one is being ruined. But the age difference means nothing, he interrupted. Rachel, I've dated women my own age. I've had relationships. None of them were you. None of them made me feel like my heart was finally home. Tears streamed down her face. Why me? Why can't you see I'm broken? I'm exhausted. I'm poor. I come with a child and baggage and a small-town scandal that will never die. Theo took her hands gently. You want to know what I see? I see a woman who works herself to exhaustion for her daughter. I see someone who never stopped believing in art and beauty despite life beating her down. I see the same grace and wisdom that changed a 17-year-old boy's entire world. That woman isn't broken, Rachel. She's extraordinary. Choice that changes everything. Zafia appeared in the doorway. Mommy, why are you crying? Is Mr. Theo being mean? No, sweetheart, Rachel managed. Mommy's just having big feelings. Sophie walked over and hugged her mother fiercely. Then she looked at Theo with serious 9-year-old eyes. Are you going to stay? Because Mommy needs people who stay. Theo's voice was thick with emotion. I'm staying, Sophie. I promise. Good, Sophie said simply. Because you make mommy smile real smiles, not pretend ones. Rachel looked at her daughter, then at Theo. In that moment, something shifted inside her. Maybe she had been protecting herself from joy instead of pain. Maybe loving Theo wasn't weak. It was brave. The town will talk, she whispered. Let them talk, Theo replied. We'll give them something beautiful to gossip about. A love story that waited 15 years. That's pretty remarkable. I'm older than you, wiser, and kinder. And everything I want, I have responsibilities. I want to share them. This won't be easy. The best things never are. Love that 3 months later, Theo moved to Bellhaven permanently. He opened an architecture office downtown and hired local contractors. He attended Sophie's school events and helped Rachel paint her kitchen on weekends. They moved slowly, respectfully, building something real. The town eventually softened. They saw how Theo looked at Rachel like she hung the moon. They saw how Rachel bloomed under genuine love. They saw Sophie thrive with a man who showed up consistently. One evening, walking along the pier where Theo had stood months before, Rachel finally said the words she'd been holding back. I love you, Theo Bennett. I think I always have. I was just too scared to admit it. He pulled her close, his heart finally complete. Worth the wait, all 15 years? Every single day. Above them, Bellhaven's lighthouse swept its beam across dark waters, guiding ships safely home. Just like Theo had found his way back to Rachel. Just like love always finds its way when two hearts refuse to forget.